grid is for this final. We had a fantastic second race earlier on, which is a great battle towards the front. And Legends final. Here we go. So we've got the grid coming up on my screen here. So the grid then, after all the 2 race heats that we've had, will look like as follows. So it is Luke Takushis and Florian Robin will start on the front row of the grid together. It's then Dan Clark and Kieran Beattie on the second row of the grid. Mark Beattie and Mike Schlupp on row 3. From Jack Parker and Ollie Schlupp on the fourth row of the grid. It's Gareth Sheridan and Ben Higgins on row 5, followed by Nathan Anthony and Charlie Budd on row 6. Or Charlie Budd and Nathan Anthony. Florian Robin actually on pole position, so reverse those three positions in terms of first, second, third, fourth, etc. So Robin and Takushis, Beattie and Clark, Schlupp and Beattie, Mike Beattie, Mark Beattie, Ollie Schlupp and Jack Parker, Ben Higgins and Gareth Sheridan, Charlie Budd and Nathan Anthony, Paul Simmons and Luke Simmons on the 7th row of the grid, Nick Bridgman and Chris Brockhurst in the 8th row of the grid, 9th row for Chris Needham and Miles Rudman, and that's then followed by Will Gibson and John Mickle, who were two of the front runners who had that great duel towards the end. And then it's Stuart McAndrew and Len Woodcock in 23rd and 24th position, Bill Reid at the back of the grid. So essentially some of the perceived slower drivers at the front, and it's the faster drivers at the back as they get reverted through, and essentially watch for the faster cars to pick their way through the pack over the next 25 minutes. I thought it was 25 minutes. It looks like it's actually a final, which I think the final actually is going to be 10 laps. So if I thought it was a 25 minute race, 10 laps it seems. So it's just a short race, a slightly longer race than the first two, but 10 laps for the final then. So let's see who can pick up the win in the final today for today's racing for the Legends Cars National Championship. It is Florian Robin in the sort of green and black car on the front row of the grid on pole, the two-tone blue car of Luke Takushis on the front row alongside him. But watch for the likes of Miles Rubin, John McKell and more behind him back in the pack. The final of today's action of the National Legends is underway here at Anglesey as the 25-strong field pours its way down towards turn 1 for the first time. Who gets the whole shot? It's going to be just about, I think, Luke Takushis. He does hold on. Also to second place, there goes Dan Clark. And down the outside looking for 33. That is Kieran Beattie with a very quick start in the orange car around the banking for the first time. Running wide on the exit was Takushis. Back through now into the lead. It's gone 30. It looks like that was Beattie, I think, or Dan Clark, one of the two. Dan Clark, I think, is up into the leads. They come up through Church, and here's Dan Clark who leads them. So Dan Clark leads. Takushis in second place. Oh, contact to the background. A couple of cars off. One was car number 97. That's a pulsar to Florian Robin. So after he had all the incidents before, that's pushing down the order, and he's also had damage on that car too. So a bit of pushing and shoving in the mid-pack. There's more lockups behind, and more clattering, more damage behind. There's one car spun in the middle pack. Another car goes up, and yeah, that's Miles Rudman. Miles Rudman gets involved. He's carries on. Whether he got damage or not, I'm not sure. The 3 cars involved. There was another car that spun around along in front of them as well. That was Mike Schlupp, and he was in 6th position. It's all kicking off on this first lap. There's wheels spinning, cars sliding everywhere. They get underway, and John Mickle already not hanging around at all. Straight up the inside, straight up several positions. I'm pretty certain he's up to around about 8th position already. We'll check his positions as they come towards the end of lap number 1. Still, it's Dan Clark who leads the way. See Nathan, I can see also Nathan Anthony's van-bodied chassis. And one car's pulled off. That's 43, I think, that's pulled off the road. So 43 is Stuart McAndrew, I'm afraid. Stuart out of the race. Oh, what a big lock-up, and almost at the back of several cars. There was car 68. That was very lucky. Nick Bridgman, who was on pole for the second heat earlier on, very nearly connected at least one car on the run down towards the bus stop, but he just about got it stopped and out of the way. So a rather energetic start to this final for the National Legends. I'm certain it's only going to get more energetic from there. So Jack Parker then hits the front in car 13. He's made a blinder of a start. From 8th on the grid. And in the pit lane, I'm afraid, was one of the front runners from heat 1. That's 98 in the pits, Chris Needham. So Chris Needham, who was around the podium places, he had a problem in race 1 earlier on when he had to put his hand up and let everyone pass. And sadly, he retired from that race and scored very little points, which is the reason why he's quite far down in the order of the pack. 4-way scrap for third going on. So this is now Parker, followed by 14 car Dan Clark. Then we have the 20 car, which is Ben Higgins. I think he's ahead of Kieran Beattie there in car 33. Yes, he is. So the orange car, Kieran Beattie. And then the red car getting sideways there. That's Steve Whiteleg. He won heat 1 earlier on today. Lots of jostling for position here. 99 in there too, which is Gareth Sheridan back in the Anthony. A huge dive up the inside again. John Mickle's at it again. There's no wonder why he's a multiple champion in these drivers, because he takes opportunities and makes moves like that. So John Mickle is up to, when did he start? He started back in 22nd on the grid, and he's already up to, if he can pull off this move round the outside, up to 5th position, if not 6th. Incredible stuff for the multiple-time champion. He really is the master of the national legends, isn't he? He really is a superb driver, is John, and definitely. Oh, contact to the back front. Car number 9's off the road, and that is an incident for Ollie Schlupp. He's got into the barriers. That's the old. That's an old pit section, and that's car 55. That's the other car starting the front row of the grid. That's Luke Takushis. Oh, and he's come across the road to 66. Oh well, I have to say that was slightly careless driving there. I think he did have a puncture, yes, but he just seemed to move across into the path of Nick Bridgman, and even the puncture, you have to have your awareness around you of cars that could be coming left, right and centre. Now, the car of Ollie Schlupp is stationary on the back straight before the run towards the bus stop. And I wonder, is that going to prompt the safety car? Well, up the inside goes John Mickle to make the move on Kieran Beattie. That's him up into 4th place. And a lock-up to make it even easier for John Mickle from the 20 car of Ben Higgins. So straight through, 2 cars past in the space of 1 corner. I have a feeling, though, that Ollie Schlupp out in the car and that car stationary half on off the road, it won't stay green for much longer, I'm afraid. I think at the very least it'll be a safety car. So John Mickle is up to 3rd. And if there is a safety car, it brings both Parker and Clay back into the mix. There are double-waved yellows where Ollie Schlupp's car is. It is off the racing line, essentially, because the cars start moving towards the driver's right to make a move. Speaking of making a move, well, there was about to be one for the lead, but I think it looks like that Dan Clark held back because he knew that yellow flags were there, so decided not to make the move in there. Also behind them we see that is Beattie and Higgins going side by side for 4th and 5th, but looks like Beattie recognises he can't make the move stick because there's double wave yellows. And in fact, as far as I expected there would be the case, the runyourfleet.com safety car has been deployed to approach the pack back up and allow the marshals and recovery teams time to quickly scoop up the number 9 car of Ollie Schlupp that's gone off midway down the straight towards the final corner. So the Jaguar will pick up race leader Jack Parker. So the order after 3 laps completed is Jack Parker who leads the way. He was leading by 0.6 of a second at the time of crossing the line. It's then John Mickle in 3rd place. That's followed by Ben Higgins in 4th, Kieran Beattie in 5th, Nathan Anthony in the van body car, the first 4 vans sponsored legend. He is up in 6th position, so a strong run from him in the early stages. 7th place for car number 99, that's Gareth Sheridan. 8th place for number 51, which is Paul Simmons. 9th place for number 66, which is the Heat 1 winner Steve Whiteleg. And then we've got the other Beattie, I think that's Mark Beattie in car 85. He rounds out the top 10. As for Miles Rudman, he got caught up in an incident earlier on. And despite that, and seemingly not carrying any damage, he's up to 11th place. He's the black car there with the 2 yellow number 1s that are just either side of the grille. There he is, the defending champion. And he has been in an incident. Doesn't look like it. They do have these little sort of front and rear bump guards, if you want to call them that. At least on the front, on the rear they do. And that's to stop typical high-speed impacts, at least to try and cushion some of the blow if there is. So the safety car leads them round. Again, supplied by runyourfleet.com, so be sure to check them out for all your company fleet management needs. Pack now just gathered up. I would imagine, given the fact that Legends cars are quite small and quite diminutive, and I mean that in a positive way in terms of how they are, that it shouldn't take too long to recover Ollie Schlupp's car from the scene of the incident, I'd imagine. And Ollie's out of the car as well, so he seems to be perfectly fine on the surface. Typically any incident, they will mandate that they have to go to the medical centre to have a check-up by the chief medical officer on safety grounds purely, because if anything it happens to a driver and it's more internal rather than external, isn't it immediately apparent, it's better to have medical professional check you out rather than that. There is car 43 Stuart McAndrew who pulled off. I'm not sure if he was involved in the incidents on the first lap at the Rocket Complex, but if he was, then that retirement is a legacy of that. So it's a shame for him out of the heat. But if he performs well enough tomorrow, he might get another chance at a good run. And, Stuart, we're all again tomorrow's action. We have again another 2 heats, another final. Certainly be, I'm sure, 3 more races that we're just entertaining those we've seen so far today. Legends and everything else that's been on the timetable this weekend, but Legends has been a fantastic addition. And as I mentioned right at the top of the program on our main stream, because I appreciate we've got some people who are joining us via the Legends Championship YouTube and Facebook pages. So for those who are watching on those mediums, then welcome to the coverage. But hopefully you're enjoying it. It's always nice to see the Legends on a live stream package as well. And you can see live Legends action, which is not something that happens too often, but it's always a privilege when it does. And so it's great to have them on board, great to have them in the paddock with us this weekend. I believe, again, from what's understood, it is literally the very first time ever that Legends have appeared on a Brscc timetable. So again, another tiny piece of Brscc history being made this weekend. And again, thrilled to have them, and I believe we do also have them for, I think, another meeting later on this season. I'll need to double check that and maybe report back on that tomorrow, but hopefully it will be a series that does make at least another appearance on one of the club's timetables in the future, because for those who know Legends anyway, they are quite a special bunch of cars and drivers. Now, obviously, they're slowing down the pace quite a bit because they realise it is a lap-based race rather than a time-based race. So, obviously, in some cases, the faster the safety car goes, the quicker that the laps get run down. That sounds obvious, I know, but with these particular Legends cars, because it's such a short race in many cases of just 10 laps compared to any other series that might put in 12, 13 or so. The incentive to try and make sure that these cars have as many of those laps available to them as possible, should there be a safety car interruption like the one we have here. Been around. They originally existed over in the US, and of course they were brought over. In terms of the specifications of these cars, they're quite impressive little pieces of kit to get involved. They are basically 5/8 scale race cars based on pre-war Ford, Chevy and Dodge bodies. And there are 8 different body styles that you can choose from, but there are, I guess, there are particular design of Legends body shell which everyone mainly goes for because they find it's more aerodynamic or it's more beneficial. But they do look like dinky little sort of 30s and 40s old school little mini hot rods, which is fantastic. They all run Yamaha 1200 or 1250cc sealed bike engines, 122 brake horsepower. And in terms of the size, their wheelbase is 73 inches. Their overall width is 60 inches, so the wheelbase is longer than the width, obviously. The overall length is about 10'6", so it's only a 10-foot long car, which is quite extraordinary. But that's what makes them so popular to watch, because they are quite nimble and quite fun to race with. So they also run as well an MRF controlled, Legends control tyre. They also run coilovers with Bilstein shocks. They run a full tube frame chassis with an internal roll cage, 5 FIA approved 5-point harness. In terms of the format, they do run qualifying sessions, but they don't run. It's very similar to how we have the Fun Cup can work as well. And that the qualifying session is just that, to actually allow the bit for the car, so that the cars are able to compete and have literally qualified to be able to race. But the times don't actually set anything. What actually sets it is that there is a draw for both heats. How it works is each race is typically between 7 and 12 laps, depending on the circuit length. So here this weekend, for example, it's heats lengths of 8 laps. And because of the unique grid system, the fast and not so fast are mixed together, and that produces quite hectic actions. The quick drivers goes back to the front, which we have seen throughout the course of today's racing so far. And with the final, the grid positions are determined by the points scored in the heats, but the points go backwards. So the best way to describe it is that if you rather than one person, if they win, getting finished first, you get 25 points, or second place gets 20. If the number of your position is how many points you score. So if you finish first, you score 1 point. If you finish second, you score 2 points, third 3 points, and so on and so forth, until you get that. And then it's essentially the grid is decided in order of drivers that have the least number of points based on their previous 2 results. So, for example, if there's a driver who's had a win and a second place compared to someone who's had a second and a third, and it's the first 2 positions, the driver with 3 points would be on pole position, and the driver with 5 points would be alongside the front row alongside him. So any drivers that finish, let's say, 14th twice, will have 28 points, and they start towards the back. So it's a system where it does reward success in the races, not to give the opportunity to start at the front. But what they also do is that again, to read down some more of this, is that yes, they allocate those points, but what they also then do is then they do a complete, I think, reverse grid. So all the highest point scorers start from the back of the grid, and the lowest point scorers start from the front. So that increases the racecraft that you need, level of racecraft that you need as a Legends Cars racer in order to try and work your way through. Because you've seen from drivers like John Mickle come through. He's up to 22nd on the grid. He's up to 3rd now. So and still could possibly go through it to win it. There's an opportunity there for him to do that just now, if this race gets underway in due course. Now they're slowing them up quite substantially, because I think the legend of Ollie Schlupp Legend's car was on the low loader last time we saw it, and it looked like it was just about finished being cleared up. Whereas I think the safety car was trying to go, yes, there we go, the safety car lights are out. It was trying to go as slowly as it was feasibly possible to do without going too slow, in order to allow enough time for the cars start to gather up. And now they see that the incident is now cleared. It is now time for the RunYourFleet.com Jaguar safety car to zip off, and it'll peel off into the pit lane. And it'll be then time for Jack Parker to become the safety car. He now chooses, as everyone forms up in a line behind him, he chooses when to put his foot to the floor and get the race restarted. Everyone else has to follow his lead. No one else can accelerate and get racing again until he decides the race is back underway. He goes right to the edge of the circuit, tries to square off the corner, and puts his form right to the firewall as he gets across the line. So we have got 4 laps to go in this final of today's action for the Legends Cars Championship with MRF Tyres. Jack Parker then leads the way off the restart. Dan Clark is in second place. And as they now make their way up towards the end of the complex at Church, now down the back straight, this is now a good chance here for John Mickle to have a run here for second place, and here he comes. So up the inside he goes. He won't even get the lead here. It's 3 abreast of the lead. John Mickle gets 2 for the price of 1 in towards School Corner. Sweeps in front, under brakes. Thanks very much. I'll take the lead. Goodbye, I'm gone. That was superb restart, and I had a feeling that John would do something like that. He was pretty racy on the restart, and to be able to pass two of the legends at once is certainly something he was definitely looking for. So he has gone from 22nd to the lead, and now has 3.5 laps to hold on to this one, whilst the likes of Dan Clark and Jack Parker and Ben Higgins and Kieran Beattie, Nathan Anthony and co, as they all jostle to try and wrench it away from his grasp. So John Mickle then in the chrome number 4 from the blue and yellow number 13 of Jack Parker. Battles going on here. There's Steve Whiteleg, who's been wide there. Whoops, by car 64, I think that was. Down towards it, and Miles Rubin also on the attack as well. He's going up going after car 51, Paul Simmons. So Miles Rubin might have a chance of a good, strong result here. He sets the fastest lap of the race on the restart, no less. So shows how much pace he's got. If he'd had more time, he might have been able to get close to the top 5, but it looks like maybe as high as 7th or 6th is the best result that he goes to. Rubin looks for the undercut, exiting the hairpin. But out of the banking and through Church. He's not able to get through, but now he's got a good run exit off the corner. He might be a good chance to get past. Meanwhile, Jack Parker is keeping with John Mickle. He's not being allowed to get away. Side by side for third between Clark and Higgins. And there goes Miles Rudman, past the 51 of Sid. He's also got Steve Whiteleg for company as well in car 66. And it's all over each other here. Ben Higgins up the inside here, but can't quite make the move stick as Clark holds on. Nathan Anthony in the van-bodied first van number 29 is flying. He's up to 5th now. He could be on the podium at this rate if he keeps on, but he's going to have to get past these two, and he still has 2.5 laps to do it. Now, Miles Rudman is there in 8th place, but he's got past Sibbers, I think. He's got past BT2, so it looks like he should be able to hold on to that one. Meanwhile, Parker looks at the outside line, looking to try and make a dive into the hairpin, but Rudman holds firm on the apex. Mickle, excuse me. Miles Rudman still in 6th or 7th place there. Whereabouts is he in the order? I think he's there. In fact, he's there, in fact. Look, you can see him number 1. Now then, he's not that far away from the leaders because he's got 3rd, 4th and 5th immediately in front of him. Car number 1 there, the black car with the yellow number. Just keep an eye on him. 2 laps to see if he can get himself into at least a podium place. And this is after he made contact in the opening couple of laps up at the complex at Rocket. So he's recovered well, with seemingly no damage suffered because of that, and staying in contention for a possible podium. Lock up there from the 20. That was of Ben Higgins. Anthony was sent to an opportunity. So will Miles Rudman. And the slightly boxier shape of the van body of that Legends car might well give Rudman a chance to close in. And again, because these cars are quite short, they're quite blunt and they're quite boxy. They've punched massive holes in the air, so when you're trying to get a tow, they have crazy amounts of pulling power. Here comes Rudman. Up the inside, late under brakes. Everyone runs wide at the complex. Every little twitch there, and up the inside goes Rudman. He's now going to look to try and get past Higgins if he can. I don't think he'll catch the top 2. It's realistic he'll probably get past. There's a better chance of getting past Higgins and Clark and taking 3rd, rather than getting past them and then catching both Parker and Mickle. But of course, as we know, this is motorsport and anything can happen. So this is the key thing. So out through the hairpin, out through the corkscrew, back towards the hairpin. And Rudman up to 4th now. He's got past Higgins. Next target, of course, is just in front of him, Dan Clark. And even then, does he dare even think about the lead or 2nd place? I don't think he does. The gap between 2nd and 3rd is 1 second. So he needs the top 2 to start to battle really heavily and to pick off Dan Clark pretty quickly at the same time as well. Now, Parker is quite close as they start the final lap of the race here. Last lap board has gone out. And Parker will try and make a dive if he can to get either way. He can look to the outside line, but again, Mickle goes defensive, has to hold the inside. And I think possibly Parker might have a good run here. He gets a super slingshot off the banking towards Church Corner. Is he going to mount a challenge? Meanwhile, Rudman looking for a move up for 3rd place up the inside of Church on Clark, but he'll get a good run here down the back straight, as will Jack Parker. Runs wide over the curve. He's as close as he's ever been. Here he comes. Now through the right-hander at School Corner. He's going to try and make a dive up the outside. Here comes Rudman. At the inside for the first part of Rocket. They're side by side for the lead. But Mickle holds him off. But does he know he's done the switchback? Great move from Jack Parker up the inside. Beautiful pass. Jack Parker does the switchback on John Mickle. He has hoodwinked John Mickle at the complex at Rocket. And Jack Parker is back into the lead. What a fantastic move. Great stuff from Jack Parker. Now he's got half a lap to defend it. John Mickle is there, and how quickly, if he can he get on the scene? Mickle looking back up the inside. But again, Jack Parker shuts the door on the apex. Out of the corkscrew, over the hill. 2 corners to go. Mickle, Rudman's not too far away, in fact. Could he steal the victory? Could he get 2nd place? Rudman's back up the inside. He does the switchback on the. You could try and pass me and fool me once. I'll fool you again on that exit on that corner. And Rudman's there as well. He's in 3rd place. It only takes Parker to make one desperate move up the inside line and down the outside for the pair to make contact and for Mickle to get through. Mickle to hold back for Rudman to get through. Mickle goes to the inside line, checker flag away. It's John Mickle, who's had a fantastic race. Goes 22nd on the grid to victory in the National Legends final. Brilliant stuff from the Legends in their final race today. Mickle wins, Parker 2nd, and Miles Rudman in 3rd. And the final finishing margin between the 3 of them was only just under 0.4 of a second. Again, if you're watching on stream and also around the circuit, give these guys a round of applause and a wave. They deserve it. Brilliant stuff from the national legends, and again, a real privilege and a thrill to have them on the Brscc timetable. So thank you very much to Phil Cooper and everyone for bringing them on, and we look forward to more of the same tomorrow when they do it all again. A qualifying in the morning, 2 heats throughout the morning and afternoon, and then another final. And if they're as thrilling and as action-packed as those 3 races today, sign me up, because I want more of those tomorrow. So the old master does it again. John Mickle. We thought he'd been fooled. We thought he'd been double dummied up at the complex, but he did the same thing down at the hairpin to depose Jack Parker and to take victory. And I think this is his first proper season back in quite a while as well. So John, good to have him back in the championship, and of course showing just why he is a multiple-time champion in these cars, because of last lap drives like that. So John Mickle then, that is the victory in the final. He will take a large haul of points thanks to that one. Jack Parker second and Miles Rodman third. So here's the result then provisionally. John Mickle the victor by 0.198 of a second. Miles Rodman a further 0.2 back. Jack Parker finishing in second. Daniel Clark and Ben Higgins in the top 5. Then Stephen Whiteleg, Nathan Anthony, Marcus Pett, Paul Simmons and Will Gibson round out the top 10. Miles Rodman also taking the fastest lap of the race as well. Gareth Sheridan is 11th place, with Kieran Beattie in 12th, Mark Beattie 13th, then Charles Budd and Mike Schlupp, Chris Brockhurst, Nick Bridgman, Luke Simmons, Florian Robin, who was on the front row of the grid, started from pole. He dropped back after contact earlier on, and then Bill Reid rounds out the top 20, and then Leonard Woodcock, Luke Shakusis was the last finisher after he started on the front row. We lost Ollie Schlupp with an accident that brought out the safety car, Chris Needham with problems, and also Stuart McAndrew had to park his car exiting the Rocket Complex. So that concludes the sprint racing action, but hold on to your hats, because the next action comes up after our supper break, because that's coming up now. It's pretty much going into it now. It's roughly about a 45-minute or so supper break, which then takes us to get things ready for our main events of today, and that is the 4.5-hour endurance race for the Silver Lake C1 Racing Series. It is their special Into the Night race. For those who enjoyed the nighttime action and the twilight hours in the C1 24 hours, this will bring back very clear memories and very clear emotions for that as well. So be sure to stick around. It's sure to be quite the spectacle of the C1s going into the night here on the Welsh coast. But the top 3 in that incredible National Legends race is making its way into pit lane now, and I'm sure that Rich John know very shortly we have a chat to all 3 of them. I'm sure a rather relieved John Mickle, a rather slightly happy, but I'm sure destined for a victory, Jack Parker, and a very happy Miles Rodman for 3rd place. Let's find out now as we hand over to Richard after what was a thrilling final for Natchez Legends. Wow, what a race.
So down in, well, not Parc Ferme, but Victory Lane, and John Mickle gets another to the podium with Jack Parker in 2nd, Miles Rodman in 3rd. The guy's taking a little bit longer to get out of the cars in this one. And that was a longer race, of course. They had the safety car, which was a little bit of a break for them, a little bit of a breather over the course of the race. John's out now. Just getting a little bit of water so he can rehydrate, and there's going to be a handshake, obviously, for Miles Rodman again. Really good to see that. As John gets the bubbly, which is of course very important, the Brscc winner's hat. He won't have had too many of those, as we are guesting with the Brscc this weekend. I think John knows the score. He's going to come over, just turns off the camera on top of the car, checks the back as well, and take the bubbly, doing up his suit, because John's very corporate about these things as well, which is really good. And we've got a bit of a break now, haven't we, before the C1 race, so we could have done these in a slightly different order. But I'll tell you what we'll do. We're going to get Miles. Can we get Miles? We'll get you. We'll do 3, 2, 1. We'll do it in a different order for this one. Miles Rodman, P3, good run through the field. Safety car comes a little bit of relief because it was getting strung out.
Yeah, I think the safety car definitely helped me a bit there. I mean, I had a airborne in the first couple of corners, and it dropped me back a bit, but yeah, just got my head down and tried to get the best out of it, really. 3rd was the best that we could do. I did catch up with John and Jack at the end, but it was just too late.
How different is it racing on the International to the coastal circuit, which I think you guys are used to?
Yeah, it's slightly different. Obviously it's a bit quicker, obviously there's more to think about, and obviously longer laps, but I'm really enjoying it, to be fair. Yeah, it's great.
Tomorrow's another day. In years gone by, we used to switch over from international to coastal. We've got to do it all again on the international. Is there much to do on the car?
Well, I think it's pretty tore up, so yeah, I think we need to have a good look at it. I mean, I must have went about 10 foot in the air then, but yeah, it was going all right. But I think
Talk us through that incident. What happened?
I'm not sure. We went up into the hairpin up the top here, and a couple of cars come together, and I went to go around the outside, and it just rolled into my path, and it just flew me up in the air, really. So
Still came through for third.
yeah, I was thinking the car was going to be in a bit of a mess, but it seemed to be okay. So.
Quite hardy little cars, aren't they? These Miles, well done. Good to see you on the podium again. Well done, third position, and we'll see you tomorrow. Let's grab a quick word with Jack Parker. Jack, second position. Well done, Jack. Nice to see you. The man who led the championship after Alton Park round 1. How's the baby, first of all? Important family matters.
Yeah, everything's fine at home. A few sleepless nights, but yeah, we're
Don't worry, it only goes on till they're teenagers, and then the bigger problems kick in.
Yeah, they're all asking for money, and yeah, I can imagine. Well, we'll find out.
Back to the race anyway, and good to see you. A really good podium, a fantastic race with John.
Yeah, it was a fantastic race. Shame I couldn't put a bit more of a battle up for John. I managed to overtake him up the top, but just could not hold it. He just had the run on me, and that was it. I was just a sitting duck for John. But yeah, managed to keep second. Happy with that.
More again tomorrow. Much to do on the car, or do you tend to leave it alone, or are you one of the drivers that likes to have a fiddle with everything?
No, normally we'd leave it alone, but with the first 2 races that we've had a lot of problems with oil coolers. So we're going to try and see if we can do something about it, and yeah, just try again.
Nice one, well done, Jack. Good to see you. We'll see you tomorrow. The grid draw, and of course our last interview is with our race winner. So let's get John over. John, sorry for doing it the other way round, but it's kind of, no, it's all right at all. It kind of makes a logical sense because 3 podia, I think, means you won the day, and it's a nice way to wrap up our first day's programme here at Pembrey, Anglesey, wrong Wales. Great way to wake that up. So, John, many congratulations on another win, and that was tough.
That was tough, yeah. I mean, I had a bit of luck in the first couple of laps. There was like a part of the waves, and I got through some traffic quite quick. But then the safety car came out, and I knew Jack was very strong, and I thought I got away. But you know, with the wind and the drag and the way you can pull people into the back straight, it's a job to get away. And Jack was there, always there, and I made one mistake, and he was passed, and I had to get past him again. But the quick steel car and the Dave's done a good job, and hopefully we can get it all right for tomorrow.
I was going to ask you about how you got through those opening laps. That was a lovely phrase, the parting of the waves, and sometimes that works for you that way, and sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah, I mean, I think we were full wide going into turn 2, and sometimes it works and sometimes it don't, and sometimes there's a train and you get balked behind a load, and it just like parted, and I went through the middle, and 8 cars later I was up. And you have a job to make that up around Anglesey. Anglesey is a very good track, a very technical track, but there's no big spaces to make that sort of ground up. And you know, it proved it. I mean, Jack got away. I think Miles was coming, but once you lose that, you have a job to get it back.
I was going to ask you the question. You got the Brscc hat on. We're guests of Brscc this weekend. Were you with us in the Brscc days originally? Because Legends started with the club.
Yeah, I was back in. I started racing the Legends in '98. That was Brscc when the old configuration of Anglesey. So that was a long time ago. Showing my age. But no, it was good. I've always liked Anglesey, even in the old track. But Brscc got on a good job, and we'll do a good job for them tomorrow.
It's nice to be guesting with them, isn't it? And great to see you take the wins, and well done on the round win. And we'll see you do it all again tomorrow.
Cheers, thank you.
Thanks, John. John Mickle there, our round winner here at Anglesey, as well as the winner of race 3. So we've got C1 race to come up a little bit later on if you're on the live stream, but we're going to have a little bit of a break. I think for me and Kev the cameraman, it's time to get lunch, never mind dinner. We haven't had lunch yet, so we're going to disappear and do that. Let's hand you back though to Scott, who will let you know what time to join in again for our live stream for the C1s. I'm going to join Scott in the commentary box for that, and we've got Rob Lewis taking over here in pit lane. So happy tea time, stick the kettle on, grab yourselves a bourbon and get the live stream going for later on. Back to Scott.
Thank you very much, Richard. Yes, well done to John Mickle, and of course our top 3 for that fantastic Legends race. And as Richard said, yes, we will be heading now to the build-up for our main event for today, the 4.5 hour C1 into the night race for the Silver Lake C1 Endurance Series, round 3 of their 2022 series. So, The plan is for those watching on these streams to be this stream here for the sprint races will now finish, but don't worry, there's going to be a separate stream just for the C1 race that's coming up. So once this race finishes, be sure to keep an eye out for that one when it goes live. If you're subscribed to the YouTube channel or got notifications and turn notifications on, as well as liked and follow the Facebook page and also done the same, you'll get a notification when we come back on there for that live stream. It should be roughly around about, looking at the time now, about 40 minutes or so to do so. So you've got to cut in time, as Richard said, to grab yourself a snack or grab yourself quickly some dinner or a cup of tea or a biscuit, what have you, and just to kind of get yourself in place for the race. As he mentions, Richard's going to come and join me in the commentary box. We'll have Rob Lewis from Club Racing UK, who did a fantastic job at the C1 24 Hours. He's back again now for the rest of the C1 season when we've got them on live stream, and he's going to be in the pit lane, having a talk to all the teams and drivers and give us answer a couple more questions. So if you've got questions in the chat about the C1 series, we can happily pass them across to him. But until then, it's time for us to take a bit of a break, including us here in the production crew and me in the commentary box and everyone else here, to get ourselves ready for our endurance race. So, stay comfortable. Thanks for watching on this stream. Be sure to switch over to the next one when it goes live, and make sure to turn notifications on when it does. For those also trackside, make sure to get yourself into the cafe or get yourself settled in place, because this is going to be quite a spectacle to watch. Citroen C1s heading into the twilight and into the darkness here at Anglesey. So thanks for watching so far on this stream. Join us on the next one when our C1 endurance race gets underway in around about 40 minutes time.